This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Devorah, Parakeh, the fifth way to effectuate Chesed in Shamayim. This is called Devorah, not for the faint-hearted. Okay, so we're up to the fifth way to effectuate Chesed and Shamayim, and this one is affected by Hachnasas Orchim. Just one more word on tzedakah. The Devorah says that when one fulfills tzedakah to the poor, one rectifies Yesod and Malchus. One combines Yesod and Malchus. And tzedakah was Rosh Tevah's 90 amens, 4 kedushos, 100 brachos, and 5 chumshei Torah. So everyone, according to their ability, draws tzedakah from Tiferes to the aniyim, which are Yesod and Malchus. Tiferes are, in general, a reference to the 6 upper spheros, and Yesod is the 6th sphera, which is a recipient of all the shefa of the upper ones, and it delivers it to Malchus. And the Devorah explained how leket, shikha, peah, and meiser is applicable, and how it's connected to the mea brachos. That the mea brachos correspond to all 100 elements of the spheros, because each sphera is included from all the 10, and by making 100 brachos a day, one is able to gain shefa from all aspects of creation. So I'm just going back to it because I want to share with you a very interesting Ben Ish Chai. 100 brachos is very doable because we make 57 brachos, just 3 Shemona Esrei again, and then you have 15 brachos HaShachar, that's already 72, and then you have Asher Yatzar, like Kain Neshama, 74, and brachos HaTorah, 76, and Baruch She'amar Yishtabach is 78, and the 7 brachos Kriyas Shema is already 85, and then there's another one by Mariv, is 86, and Nitilas Yadayim in the morning. So it's quite easy to get 100 brachos. The 90 amenim is a little bit more complicated, so I want to share with you a very interesting Ben Ish Chai in Parshas Va'yeshev, and the Ben Ish Chai says that it is a minhag yafeh to say every day Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen V'Amen, and say it 45 times, because if you say it 45 times Amen V'Amen, you got 90 amenim. So, and the Ben Ish Chai says that he personally says it 45 times after he says Brachas HaTorah. So I am not here today to tell you to say Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen V'Amen 45 times, although I already said it twice and I just got 4 amens. But in all probability, if you're in shul for the Brachas HaShachar, you have 15 amens, and the 2 Chazar Sashatz is 38. So that's already 53. And then, in all likelihood, you heard a bunch of Kadeshim. So you're probably, in all likelihood, you're going to make 50 amens if you're conscious during the davening. So what you could do is like this. You don't have to say it 45 times. I have a really good trick. You say it like this. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen V'Amen, Baruch Adonai B'Tzion Shem L'Shem Haliyah, Baruch Adonai Malchei Yisrael Oitzin V'Lois V'Adav Roshim K'Adonai Le'olam V'Yimalech V'Ades Karetz, Amen V'Amen. That's 4. So that's 4. If you say it 10 times, you're already there. So if you're online, or you have nothing better to do, you could say those 3 psukim 10 times, and that's 40 amens. In other words, if for whatever reason you can't make it to shul one day, and you're short amens, saying those psukim gets you 4. The truth is, you say them in Shachris and you say them in Mariv. So it's already 8. That's another 8. So, anyway, it's good to know about. If you want to get 90 amens, there are 4 in the psukim. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen V'Amen, Baruch Adonai B'Tzion Shem L'Shem Haliyah, Baruch Adonai Malchei Yisrael Oitzin V'Lois V'Adav Roshim K'Adonai Le'olam V'Yimalech V'Ades Karetz, Amen V'Amen. So that's one of the advantages of giving the shiur, that I got another 8 to 10 amens just in the last 30 seconds. Okay. Now we get to inviting guests. Chamishas. Now maybe today we'll just read the words. Hachnasas Orchim. And who are the guests? Hema Tiferes v'Hayitzoid. The guests are Tiferes and Yisoid. Laseis lohem beis menucha she'enuchava, to give them a house of rest to rest in. Dahainu hamalchus. The house of rest is malchus. Now, why do Tiferes and Yisoid need a house? Kivan shem holchei drachim, because they're travelers besoid hagalos, in the secret of exile. Tiferes and Yisoid are sometimes in galos. Lechazer al avedasam, they need to retrieve what they lost. Now, what did they lose? They lost Malchus. Malchus is called the Nekeva. So the same way the man has to search for his Isha, so Yisoid, Tiferes and Yisoid need to search for Malchus. As it's explained in the Zohar, Shazem mitzvah miskayemes, that this is a mitzvah which is fulfilled by those who travel on the road and converse. Now, what does this mean for those who travel on the road and they converse? There's a pasuk in Shoftim, Holchei al derech sichu, and the Targum Yonasan says this refers to Talmidei Chachamim, that as they travel, they speak and learning even as they travel. Shehim hamizgarshim mibateim, they are exiled from their home, lasoik b'Torah, to be oisek in Torah. Now, in the 9th chapter of Talmud Devorah, the Ramak explains at length that someone who wants to be zoicha, that the Shechina should be with him, should go into Golos from his house of rest, like Reb Shimon did. And in fact, the Ramak writes in the Sefer Narov that him and Rav Shlomo Al-Kabetz, they went into some kind of self-imposed exile to be able to be with the Shechina. So those who go into Galos to be Oisik in Torah, Shagarmim Sheyu Orchim Oiskim Tzarchei Hamalchus, they cause the guests, which are Yisoid and Tiferes, to be involved in the needs of Malchus. V'chein, and likewise, Kol Ha'oisa Yichud El HaTiferes, all who bring about the unification of Tiferes, B'Malchus, Mi B'china Acheres, in another way, the koivea makom l'Torah, and establish places for Torah. So presumably what he's saying is that when one sets a fixed place to study Torah, now this is very difficult today, to go into exile for Torah or to establish fixed places for Torah, because most people, they spend the entire day in their room with a computer and they don't go nowhere. But it is still very valuable to travel to a Shiur or to learn Torah. And it's not sufficient merely to turn on a screen and participate that way. It is important to be able to learn Torah by exerting oneself and traveling to be able to learn. Provided that it's safe and healthy. When one does these things, he causes that Tiferes will make a residence in Malchus. V'chein perish batikunim. This is always also explained in the Tikunei Zohar. Ve'el ha'orchim tzarch lahachin achila. For these guests, one needs to prepare food, shtia, drink, levaya, escort, dahainu shetzarch lahachnis ha'tiferes v'hayisoid el ha'malchus. One needs to bring Tiferes and Yisoid into Malchus, v'laseis lohem sham achila, and to give them food, me'ein, similar to what it says in Shir Hashirim. Basi legani achoisi kala. And then it says, Achalti yari im divshi. One needs to give food to Tiferes and Yisoid. Shehu shafa roi lahanhoga hatachtoina, which is the appropriate bounty, which is fitting for the lower practice of the lower worlds, hamispashetes, which spreads out mitzad hagvura hamasuka, from the sweetened midas hadin ushisiya, as well as drink, me'ein, similar to what it says, shasisi yeni im chalavi. I drink my wine with my milk. shehu shefa panimi, which is the internal bounty, min hayayin hameshumar, from the wine which is preserved, umisoid hachalav hamismatek, and the milk which has been sweetened. Lekasher ha-tiferes v'hamalchus, to tie and connect tiferes to malchus, Yaakov v'Rachel. Now here we come to a major concept in Machshava and Kabbalah, and that is tiferes is Yaakov Avinu, which is well known, and Rachel is malchus. V'hagevura, and you want to tie tiferes to malchus, which is Yaakov to Rachel, and you want to tie Gevura to Netzach oy bahoid. Kichein Parsha b'Raya Mehemna. This is what is explained in Raya Mehemna in the Zayar. V'halavaya, you want to escort them. Lahavi atzmai v'nishmasai sham imahem. You want to bring your essence and your soul there with him. B'diokon elyon. In their supernal form. Maybe tomorrow we'll actually explain this. No promises. Lilavoisam sham. To escort them there. Oid, furthermore, lahavi shar hasfiros sham, to bring the other spheros there, yimahem. Lasois lohem levaya tova, to do to them a good escort. The kama dvarim nechlalim b'tikon zeh, many things are included in this rectification. Klaloi shel davar, here's the summation. Yishtadel b'tzorech hedyoit. You should do whatever is necessary for the simple act, the chavein b'remizasai, and you should have in mind to what it alludes to. And you are vouchsafed that you will be able to accomplish in Shamayim what corresponds to it. Once you are proficient in these secrets, and not only should one effectuate these activities in Shamayim, but one should even say with his mouth what he's trying to accomplish. Umat toiv.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.